Sairam, offering my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan, Sri Sathya Sai Baba, and deep gratitude to our director Shekhar Rao sir and Praveen for this opportunity to speak in this episode of Mano, Hridaya Sai. I start by recounting my journey with Sai, and in retrospect, I know that it dates back to my childhood. I used to visit one of our family physicians very often those days, and in their waiting area, they had this picture of Swami, the most popular orange-robed photo with both hands blessing, Abhayasta photo. And one day, I looked at that photo and I asked aloud, "Who's that?" And there was a lady sitting close by. She told me in Kannada, "He's Sai Baba, he does magic." I might have visited that clinic at least 1,000 times, totally unaware that Swami was really weaving magic into my life. For a child, what would magic be like? Creating something out of thin air? And yes, later I even saw that. Swami creating so many gifts, and later even institutes and hospitals out of nothingness. In fact, the whole Puttaparthi is his magic. And yes, he did magic in my life too, by bringing me and my family into his divine fold. I had never imagined that I would be in an organization, a spiritual organization like the one we are in now, and I'm immensely grateful to Swami for having brought us all here. In last time's Mano Hridaya Sai, Karthik brother mentioned that at times we may not be qualified or even deserving, but yet chosen. I think I'm a classic example of that. We're just particles of dust whom Swami could convert into diamonds if he chooses to. As I was growing up, my mother used to tell me that we should always directly connect ourselves to God, because it's very difficult to find a true guru. And I also carried the same feeling. And only after coming to this hospital and working here for several years, I realized that if Guru and God had to exist in one form, that could only be the form of Sathya Sai. Life went on with schooling, college, MBBS, MD, with all its ups and downs, until I once again heard the name of Sathya Sai Baba in 2004, this time from my senior Dr. Deepak, who had joined here as a resident in DNB Cardiology. And he asked me to apply here. And I was very clear that I did not want to do DNB. Having just completed my MD 2 months ago, I wanted to at least give a sincere try for getting a DM seat, which was a long cherished dream of mine. Still, I came here and I visited him and saw the mighty hospital and met Dr. Dash, who was the finest cardiologist of Bangalore. But I was not so sure I wanted to give up on my dream so easily. So, even though I knew in my heart that I'm actually looking for a good teacher, not a degree, and this hospital was very impressive, still I gave the interview a little reluctantly, partly hoping that I would not be selected. But as the good Lord would have it, I was selected. And I was supposed to join on the 1st of November 2004. On 18th October, after completing my interview, I told our sir that, okay, so I'll come on the 1st of November. And he said, "Why so late? Join next week." And I said, "No, I have to go on a temple tour." Because after 30 years of working in Bangalore, my father had just got retired and we were supposed to go on a temple tour in South India. And he said, "What temple? This is the biggest temple you'll ever see." So I went and told my parents that I can't join them for the trip. Even though we were disappointed, my father said, "No, we should always listen to our teachers." And I joined. And I realized that I actually joined the biggest temple of healing, and there is really no need to go to any other temple. Little did I know then that I had started the most beautiful journey of my life, and my life would be changed forever for good. In just 2 days of working in the outpatient department, my entire desire to do a DM vanished. For me, this is just a miracle because in 2 working days, Swami just made that dream and the desire disappear. And so I was so satisfied with my course and I could give myself wholeheartedly from then on. I had a good friend, Dr. Kalpana, who joined with me. And both of us used to work and we used to always wonder what it might be to be a devotee. We didn't know, but we just knew we were in the right place. Because very soon we got connected to the bhajans, which used to play on the PA system continuously. And the bhajans were so melodious and sung with so much bhav that it was so easy to get latched on to them. Only later I got to know that Swami had said that I make my presence felt wherever my glories are sung. So when we thought we were enjoying the bhajans, probably we were enjoying Swami's presence. On Jan 19th, 2005, I attended the first hospital anniversary celebrations. For me, it was the first. And I heard Kartik brother with an introductory remark offering my humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. And we were shocked. We were like, God? Do they think he's God? Till Guru, I can understand, but I could not take it. Is it really true? How is it possible? They think he's God in human form. And are we so lucky to have that darshan of Swami here? Even though it was just in pictures at that point. Because I had not had the physical darshan of Swami then. A few days later, we heard Dr. Murugan say Swami. We were like, Swami, Guru, God, he is everything to the devotees here. Much later, one of the lady doctors, she told me, my parents want me to get married, but in my heart, I am already married to Sai. We had some CCT students who told me later, he's Tata. I was thinking, which role would Swami not fit in? Name a role and Swami could fit into that role for the devotee. He was everything to everybody here. In 2006, my parents visited me during my residency and Dr. Dash again said, oh, you should take them to Puttaparthi. And again, my father said, okay, let's go because we have to always obey our teachers. So I made that journey. I didn't know it was the best journey of our, life starting at that point. And I really thank Das sir and Swami for those darshans because that led to subsequent darshans. When I joined, we had 3 teachers, Dr. Dash, Dr. Barua and Dr. Madhu. And we would just see them tirelessly working from morning to night and even in the night if required. There was so much dedication and commitment and it was very difficult to explain what was driving them. Soon I realized it was the love for Swami which they carried in their hearts. On one morning at 4:30 a.m., when I called Dr. Dash for a patient, she was our staff's mother and she was having a heart attack and she was brought to the emergency. Dasa said, today I was woken up at 2:30 a.m. I was wondering why is Swami waking me up at 2:30 a.m. He was already ready. In 5 minutes he was in the hospital performing the angioplasty and saving that patient. And to me, here was a patient, but Swami had already kept the doctor ready. This is awesome. And this can happen only because of the grace of God. I also realized that the staff we were working with, the CCU staff, the ward, the cath lab, and the OPD, everywhere, people would go beyond their, expectations also to do work for the patients. They would go that extra mile every time. If you see a sister at 9 a.m., sometimes it might just be the night duty sister who is still not left. And in the outside world, you see sometimes people trying to escape work. Here it's just the opposite. People are going out of their way to help patients. This is something very unique. And I know even now those sisters whom I worked with in 2004 are still continuing their services unto Swami unflinchingly. In my first year, while I was working in the OPD, our OPD staff, Vidyulata and Jaya, they also shared a lot of experiences about Swami, and I know that they have contributed to my journey because each incident mattered. It sounded like a story, but it had an impact because they were very profound experiences. And I also wondered always, how can somebody have such a profound experience with Swami and yet be so humble? I saw all these Sevadal uncles and aunties who had such powerful experiences with Swami, but name any job, they would do it with so much love and humility. How is this possible? I think it's possible if you carry Swami in your heart, really. In my residency, one day I was just a little low, and out of the blue, Saimira ma'am came and she handed me a copy of the Satyasai Charita, Shirdi Sat Charita book. And I was like, I had no connection or attraction to the Shirdi form. I had heard by then that Swami had said he was also Shirdi avatar. But I had not even got completely connected to Swami. But this book was in my hand. And one of our OPD staff, she told me, read it as a Saptaham, which I did. And I saw that miraculously those circumstances which I was struggling with just disappeared. And so I got connected to the Shirdi form also by the divine grace of Swami. In general, what we notice that even when students joined here, including me, without an initiation or without knowing that they were connected to Swami, somewhere during the residency, they would all get connected. I saw that with my seniors, Dr. Keshav and Dr. Deepak, who later on went on to get gold medals by Swami's grace and the hard efforts which were put in by our teachers, Dr. Dash and Dr. Barua. And in over a decade and a half, I have seen students passing out from here. And I know that all of them carry Swami and his message in their hearts, even though they may not have been initiated when they joined the place. When you see someone working so tirelessly and relentlessly, and when you see your teachers doing so much selflessly, somewhere you imbibe something of that. I've heard so many doctors who are practicing outside and who are doing very well now, still longing to be here. There's a deep sense of pride and belongingness which comes in as we journey through this place. In the coming years, our department was joined by Dr. Shrikant Sola as consultant and Dr. Prayag as resident, both of whom were ardent devotees of Swami. I have heard so many experiences of Swami from Prayag, including the one in which Swami had resurrected a devotee from the dead. I was stunned. There was utter disbelief. But later I realized Swami can do anything. There is nothing that Swami cannot do. What we think of science has its limits and its boundaries, but for Swami it's limitless. How helpless are we as doctors in front of death? But for Swami, it's just in his hands. One day, over a very casual conversation, Dr. Sola suddenly asked me, "How are you doing?" And immediately went on to tell me about Swami and told me that Swami always says it's reflection, reaction and resound. So if you're struggling with a situation, you have to go within to see where it's originating from. And that was a very profound teaching for me. In the coming years, we were very fortunate as a hospital to get very close darshans, sparshans and sambhashans with Swami through the Parthi Yatras, in which me and my family were all blessed by Swami. In the beginning of 2010, I had the opportunity to join Fellowship in Interventional Cardiology. But somehow I did not get a very clear signal or an indication from Swami that I should join. So I did not join. I just continued working here as a junior consultant. 6 months later, the same opportunity comes to me. This time I thought, unless I get a clear indication from Swami, I will not join. So I went to Parthi with my letter, not sure if Swami would, you know, come to me. But the gracious Lord came to me, accepted my letter, and when I asked him if I could join, he assented for the same. The timing is so perfect, and only Swami knows the timing. Because had I joined 6 months earlier, I would have finished in a year's time. But since I joined in July of 2010, my fellowship continued for a year. And I had many opportunities during that period. In 2010 October, as a department, we were all blessed to attend the International Cardiology and Cardiothoracic Surgery Conference in Puttaparthi, which was organized by Dr. Neelam and Dr. Iyer. And I very, very grateful to them for having invited us and having us over. We were invited as special guests of Swami, and for the first time we had that experience of how Swami takes care of his guests. There was no stone unturned in the arrangements made, and they were unto perfection. We all, as a department, got very close darshan, sparshan and sambhashan with Swami. And after a long time, I felt like a small child, making cards. Me and Prayag were making cards for Swami. And he was so kind and compassionate. He came over, accepted our cards, and even blessed us both. And I also attended the 85th birthday celebrations of Swami in November that year. That was the first time I could go for a birthday celebration. I think we all know that strange melancholic feeling which we feel when we come back from Parthi. On the way back from Parthi, there's a very sad feeling which enters our hearts. And I know everybody has gone through that. And that night I was returning with a very heavy heart, and I was telling Swami, I'm in this fellowship program and I cannot get too many leaves. So I'll be coming only after 6 months now. But to my surprise, in just about 2 days, I found out after coming back to Bangalore that Dr. Dash had got a transfer to Parthi. And another few days, I knew that we were also lucky enough to have been chosen to go to Parthi for 6 months. It was beyond any thing that I could have done for myself. No, we cannot do such things for ourselves. Only the Lord within His compassion can do all this for us. So I had the good fortune to have attended all the functions thereafter for the next few months. My first Christmas, my first sports day, which I had never attended in the last so many years because of the residency programs. So there I was in Parthi for 6 months. And we had gone as a team. We had people from the OPD, Senior Manager Ashwin, Chandrapa, Nanda, Prayag and myself. And of course Dr. Dash, because of whom we all got this chance to go. And I got a chance to work very closely with Sir and with Iyer Sir at very close quarters. And I learned a lot from them. And till today I cherish a very loving relationship with them. One of the things I noticed in Parthi was that to the untrained mind, the staff are, they would just come across to you as very ordinary staff. But when you see them work, the humility which they have, it's beyond measure. They have had such profound experiences with Swami, and they are evolved, way, way more evolved than they may appear. The dedication and the commitment with which they work is beyond comparison. I remember once when I was standing at Parthi Ganesh after darshan, and I was thinking to myself, here I am, 500 meters from where the Lord resides, so close and yet so far in terms of consciousness. Very soon Swami was admitted to the hospital, and again because of Dr. Dash and Swami's grace, I got the chance to serve Swami at close quarters. Those times were very difficult for all the devotees of Swami. And then I came back to Bangalore after my 6 months. And then Dr. Barua asked me one day in the cath lab, "Do you see Swami here in the cath lab?" And I said, "No, where?" And he said, "Yes, you have to imagine Swami standing right here, watching over you doing the procedure." And then I thought, okay, now we have to start getting connected to the inner Swami. So that was a very profound message for me. Several times during my period here, even Dr. Dash has told me things like they are profound messages of Swami. Like, these are passing clouds. Past is past. Forget it. The problem may be so big, but the solutions are so simple if we choose to follow them. These are the messages which slowly I started getting when I came back and when I started another journey of my life, the inner journey. In 2017, when Dr. Sanjay joined us, he again told us so many experiences of Swami. And for him and for many other devotees who lived abroad, they were already and always connected to the inner Swami. So that was again something which we had to all take forward. One incident I remember in 2013. It was the first week of 2013, and Swami in his own way showed that we were to participate in an international conference in the US. So I knew Sir would not agree because Sir is such a simple person and he may not agree to promote himself in any way. But the deadline kept getting closer and closer and the message stronger. So we finally requested Sir again and he agreed. And on the last hour of that last day, myself and Prayag, we submitted some abstracts for this conference. Almost the same time, Swami appears in the dream of one of our staff who was in Kerala at that time and asks and tells her, "Do you know Dr. Dash is going to America?" So she called up Ashwin, who was our manager, and asked him, "Is Dr. Dash going to America?" And since we had just submitted the abstracts and we hadn't told anybody then, so Ashwin replied in the negative. Because he was not aware of what was happening here. 2 months later, she started getting recurring dreams in which Swami kept telling her that Dr. Dash is going to America. So again she called us up, and by the time the abstracts were accepted, Swami was to go. Dasa was to go. Yes, it was final by then, and in April he went to the US. He not only attended the conference, he also visited the house of a devotee there. And for the first time after him being there, Vibhuti started pouring out from the photograph of Swami, which they had in their house. So it was a divine mission, really. And Swami showed us all the way that it was his hand which did everything. Swami had also indicated in the dream of one devotee that our then resident, Dr. Rohit, would get a gold medal, which he did subsequently. To me, all this is beyond ordinary, beyond normal. This is unbelievable because science cannot explain all this. But Swami shows his omniscience, omnipresence, omnipotence in so many ways. Recently, in a conversation with Dr. Barua, he just told me, this was during the COVID times when all of us are, struggling with our own fears. He said, "You have to carry Swami in your heart," which brings me to a diametrically opposite situation from where I was in 2010. And I know that world over, all the devotees of Swami are now feeling so much more closeness to Swami than probably previously, because there's so much divine protection, blessings are coming our way. And where we started off from, which was so close and yet so far, here we are all so far and yet so close. Having said this, I still feel that it's our responsibility to share this love with everybody. And that has been happening through the selfless service which Sathya Sai organization has been doing all throughout, and even more so during the COVID times. I was once told that if you take one step towards Swami, Swami will take 1,000 towards you. Swami not only took the first step, he also took the subsequent 100 or 1,000. And soon we all realized that he is actually walking with us and probably carrying us through all the difficult phases of our lives. What would I have been if I had not been here? I think my life would have been completely wasted. I have had such a great opportunity, and I have been blessed with this opportunity to come here to serve Swami, and I'm extremely grateful to Swami for that, and for everything else, for everything that I think we've had in our lives. We would have truly wasted our lives otherwise. When I joined here, many relatives and friends would dissuade you from working too long. Slowly a subtle sense of ego starts coming in that, we are serving society and we are serving at modest remuneration and all these things. But the truth is that as we've all worked here, we've all realized that we are just getting richer by the day. We are receiving more than giving, imbibing more than prescribing. And we have been transformed. So why we chose to be here, we don't know. But we've been chosen, and we are very grateful to Swami for that. Every single person who has come to this place, whether he knows it or not, whether he accepts it or not, has been chosen by Swami and is already initiated, even though they may not know it. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.
First to parents satisfaction. First please your parents, satisfy them. Marriage చేసుకో. You can marry. కానీ పేరెంట్స్ యొక్క పర్మిషన్ కావాలి. But you need definitely parents. Some permission లేకపోయినా పర్వాలేదు. Parents permission కావాలి. Doesn't matter if you have no Swami's permission, but parents permission. Happy. If your parents are happy, Swami is happy. కాబట్టి తల్లిదండ్రులు సంతృప్తిపరచాలి. So satisfy your parents. ఎందుకనగా తల్లి అనేక విధంగా మిమ్మల్ని పోషించి పెంచి పెద్ద చేస్తుంది. Because mother has taken care of you. కాబట్టి భారతీయ సంస్కృతిలో మాతృదేవో భవ పితృదేవో భవ మొట్టమొదటి దేవుడు. Therefore in culture of Bharat, the parents are first gods. తల్లిదండ్రుల కంటి మీద మీరు నింపితే మీ కంటి మీద మీ కుమారుడు నింపుతారు. If you make your parents shed tears today, you will be made to shed tears tomorrow by your children. Yes, bhavum tat bhavati. As is your action, so will be the reaction tomorrow. Kasi నీ కుమారుడు నీవు గౌరవంగా మర్యాదగా గౌరవించాలనుకుంటే మొట్టమొదటి నీవు నీ తల్లిదండ్రులను గౌరవించు. If you want to be respected by your children tomorrow, now you should respect your parents. కనుక పిల్లలు ఎప్పుడు కూడా చక్కని మంచి భావాలతో పవిత్రమైన భావాలతో ఉంచాలి. The students should have sacred thoughts. ఒకవేళ తల్లిదండ్రులు చెప్పినది నీకు ఇష్టం కాదు, you may not like what is said by your parents, కానీ you డైరెక్ట్ గా చెప్పకూడదు. But you should not tell them directly. చాలా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేయాలి. You should make effort to explain their fear. వినయంగా వారికి సరైన చెప్పుకోవాలి. You should explain with all humility. అది విద్యార్థి యొక్క లక్షణం. That is the quality of the student. Subramanyam, Subramanyam, Shankaraka, Subramanyam. Subramanyam, Subramanyam, Kajinatha, Subramanyam. Subramanyam, Subramanyam, Shankaraka, Subramanyam. Shiva 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 Subramanyam, Hara 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 Subramanyam. Shiva Shiva Hara Hara Subramanyam, Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Subramanyam. Shiva Shiva Hara Hara Subramanyam, Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Subramanyam, 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 Subram, Shanmuganada, Subramanyam.